Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, the Russians finally got the Americans to where they wanted to get the Americans, and that is at the negotiating table. In 2021, in October, November, December, the Americans and NATO, which is the United States of America, refused to discuss security guarantees with Russia. Therefore, the Russians said, we cannot allow our ethnic Russians to be massacred in East Ukraine, and we will enter over there and will take care of NATO and everything that we need to do. The United States of America was do it. And that's where we are. The Russians are advancing, the Russians are not losing, the Russians did not collapse. There is the smokescreen of Ukraine versus Russia. We all know it is the interests on top of the United States of America who are fighting against Russia. They want to control Russia's resources, therefore controlling China and India and everybody else, as they do in Ukraine. Ukraine is a mini Russia. The Americans and the Russians, I made a video earlier today, according to Axios, are putting together a secret peace plan for Ukraine with 28 points. I have details on that secret plan coming from Russia Today, which cites Axios and Financial Times, so it must be true. And one of, or as a general rule, not general, as a conclusion, according to Axios and Financial Times, US peace plan proposes Ukraine give up sovereignty. Unfortunately, when I told you the deal was good then, now it's getting worse. So the more you're pushing, it's gonna go worse and worse for you, better and better for me. All right, so they are discussing it, and the Ukrainians and the Europeans were given the 28 points like this. Here it is, and Zelensky better agrees with it. We'll see what Zelensky's answer will be. Zelensky, as of now, he's not in Ukraine. The Pentagon is in Kiev, in Ukraine right now. All right, that's the first topic. The second topic. They claim here that Zelensky knew about the Graft schemes of Yermak and the other ones, about $100 million. I think it is much more than $100 million. And they say, what should the Europeans do? Because they will be embarrassed to say that the guy they helped, Zelensky, is such a corrupt person, possibly. And these guys are trying to discuss and analyze, will the Europeans still support Zelensky, or how they will try to avoid embarrassment. First, I have to discuss this. Those politicians in Europe will not be embarrassed by anything. So there's not an issue. All right, so they think that Zelensky will be dismissed. Zelensky, I think, as it appears to me at this point, will be dismissed through an accident. That's my assessment as of now. But hey, I have 5 articles here that I will discuss with you regarding this issue. Next topic, we find out that there is a catfight between von der Leyen and Kallas, 2 appointed bureaucrats in charge of the intelligence and the European Commission in the European Union, 2 women, and one is very young and very infantile, that is Kallas, and the other one is a real versed babe, that is von der Leyen. They are at it. Who's gonna win? Well, I hope the people will win if we are to BS. And the last topic for this video is Andrew Tate. Everybody's happy when Andrew Tate, I don't know, gets hurt a little bit, or financially unstable, or something like that. I don't know why. Do you know why? So Andrew Tate gets hyperliquefied as Bitcoin crash wipes out his entire balance. And these guys from the street celebrate that. Well, I don't think Andrew Tate is an imbecile whatsoever. So I don't think that's all he had, because they talk about $750,000. I think he's got cars that 3 times that amount. 1 car. So anyway, these guys are just celebrating Andrew Tate losing $750,000. Like he's an imbecile. He didn't put his eggs in more baskets. All right, let's start with the beginning. The peace plan. Russia Today. United States peace plan proposes Ukraine, quote-unquote, give up sovereignty. Well, that tells me someone lost here. The proposal requires that Kiev relinquish territory, reduce its army, and recognize Russian as an official language. Axios and Financial Times has reported. And that's not all. I guarantee you that's not all. You know why? It does not say anything about NATO. It does not say anything about elections. It does not say anything about who's going to control west of Ukraine. All right? It doesn't say anything about the, as they call it, Nazi ideology. There's many things that they don't talk yet. And I guarantee you the Russians will fulfill their 4 main reasons for which they entered Ukraine. Among the slaughter of their ethnic Russians in the East Ukraine, that was one of the main ones. So let's start reading a little bit what's going on. A U.S. proposed peace plan for the Russia-Ukraine conflict developed jointly with Moscow, not with Ukraine. We knew that will happen because that's the reality. It's not Ukraine versus Russia. Requires major concessions from Kiev. Kiev will have no say and would amount to it giving up its sovereignty. Well, that's why when you allow other people to be in charge of you, I guess actions have consequences, in this case negative. Unfortunately, Axios and Financial Times reported on Wednesday, Russia has not confirmed the proposal. Why? Because these are really diplomats. The other guys have megaphone diplomacy. The framework agreement contains 28 points, was delivered, issued, given, ordered to Kiev this week by US President Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff, according to people familiar with the matter cited by various outlets. The sources said the Jewish Witkoff made clear that he wanted the Jewish Vladimir Zelensky to accept the terms. Thank you very much. I like when they make our foreign policy. According to Financial Times, the proposed plan would require Ukraine to relinquish the parts of the new Russian regions in Donbass still under Kiev control, cut the size of its armed forces by half, and abandon key categories of weaponry. A rollback of US military assistance is included in the framework. One source told Financial Times that accepting the condition would amount to Ukraine giving up its sovereignty. Yep. That's the consequence. The document reportedly also stipulates recognizing Russian as an official state language, of course, in Ukraine, and granting official status to the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, the largest Christian denomination in the country, which Zelensky Jewish government has cracked down on over its history ties with Russia. So who is winning? Who is winning? All right, what's going on here? Kremlin spokesperson or spokesman, because he got balls, Dmitry Peskov did not confirm the proposal and said that there is nothing new in the US-Russia talks beyond what was discussed between Russian President Putin and Trump in Alaska. Yeah, but we don't know what they talk. I don't know what they talk. I do not know. Senior Russian negotiator Kirill Dmitriev told Axios, which first reported on the plan, that it was more than a ceasefire arrangement, saying, and I'm quoting, "We feel the Russian position is really being heard." Yes, because we did not collapse militarily. A White House official told Politico the plan could be agreed by all parties by the end of this month and possibly as soon as this week. The peace of our time. A peace of our time. So yes, that tells me the Americans said, you know what? We have 2 options here. Go all the way in. I think it's 3 options. Go all the way in, which is end up in a nuclear war. Continue this, what we've been doing, but it seems like the Russians are winning so far, and the other one stop the shit. All right, say, okay, we lost. Let's pick up our pieces, our toys, and go back home, and then come and meet again somewhere else, maybe in Georgia, maybe in, I don't know, in Far East, in China. We're gonna find in Iran. There's many other territories, maybe in Venezuela. We can continue this war against Russia in different ways. They will not stop. They will not stop. The Anglo-Saxons, I'm talking. If they stop, they lose everything. This is the last battle. If they lose this time, they lost everything. I'm talking about the Anglo-Saxons. All right, that's the first one. The second one, will Zelensky collapse? Will Zelensky collapse? Not like, ooh, he's going to be getting kicked out. Will he resign? Oh, will he blown up by an American missile? With his helicopter will have a technical difficulty and will have a crash. All these things are on the table with Zelensky. I suspect, I predict that if Zelensky doesn't want to go, his helicopter will not make it one time. You don't have to do it twice. Ukraine's graft schemes cooked up by Zelensky. Yermak, ex-Ukrainian prime minister. It doesn't mean that if this guy says so, it is true. But they are a clique, and the clique is not Ukrainian. That's exactly the clique these guys want again to rule over the Russian nation. They are successfully ruling over the Ukrainian nation right now. Yermak, Zelensky, Shmihal, Reznikov, these guys, and the guys in charge of the Graft scheme. They're all of the same group. Maybe not all, but you find the same menstrual blood everywhere where these guys went. They're like snails. All right, next one. Could Ukraine corruption scandals cause Zelensky's demise? Yes, they can. It can. European PR firms, media made huge effort to pump up Zelensky, won't let him fall over corruption. Well, and they claim, here is the weasel, if Zelensky were to fall, it would be a disaster, particularly for the Western Europeans. Swiss political analyst and former OSCE advisor Ralph Boshard told Sputnik, commenting on the fallout from Ukraine's 100 million energy contract corruption scandal. And I'm quoting, replacing Zelensky with another candidate now would not be easy at all. I don't think so. It would be very easy, mister. The Europeans have turned a blind eye to corruption by successive Ukrainian governments for years. Successive. All right, with their support based solely on the condition that these governments are willing to fight against Russia. Correct, the retired lieutenant colonel of the Swiss Armed Forces General Staff, who served as special said, the current war is basically a business project. Correct. Ukraine's corruption scandal. EU fears for its existence as it whitewashes Zelensky. No. The politicians have no shame. Their media, the guys in charge of the media, will portray it as something else. The public is dumb, and there you go. It's not whitewash. They don't know. They blackwash. No problem. The Graft scandal in Ukraine gathered strength after the country's NABU anti-corruption watchdog said that he was conducting a large-scale special operation in the energy sector. Well. He stressed that the scandal is embarrassing the European Union and national leaders. It doesn't embarrass anybody. They are not embarrassed. That's the first one. And the media, if the media decides, not the media, the guys in charge of the media, just so you know. Media is a tool. Media is not in itself a power. You can close the media just like this. Who? The guys in charge of them. Remember, everything gets to brute force. That's where it goes. So again, the guys will not be embarrassed. If the guys in charge of the whole project of Russia must fall and be controlled by this clique, the same clique that controls Ukraine. And I'm not talking about Zelensky. You know what I mean. okay? Then if they decide, yes, they will embarrass these guys in the European Union. They decided to give a spin, they will give a spin, and the idiots will eat it. They've been eating it since, what, a long time ago. Russia is bad, Putin a criminal, and so on. So it was not hard. Why? As Albert Einstein allegedly said at one point, 99.9% of the human population doesn't need a brain. The backbone is sufficient. All right, that's it. Eat, fuck, fart, sleep. All right, let's move to the next one. Why West continues to whitewash Zelensky amid Ukraine's corruption scandal? Because in their eyes, nothing happened. What happened? Is the guy following our orders? Yeah. What do you want? These guys shook hands with Gaddafi and many Pinochet and many other criminals, if you want to consider those guys criminals, okay? Many other criminals, I think Pinochet, okay? And Gaddafi. Remember Gaddafi was with the Queen Elizabeth II in the freaking royal, remember, in London streets. He was Ceausescu too. So they have no problem dealing with these guys as long as they will follow the orders, or they will try to make them follow the orders. Now, if these guys say no, if Zelensky says no, then he's out. And if he says, no, I'm not going to go, he's going to be taken out. I tell you that. So Zelensky will leave the office, either say, okay, I got enough money, I'm going to go. They will write the history for me being a very good guy in charge of this nation, and that's it. I try to liberate you, you're just dumb, I'm going to London or New York, wherever he would like. And over there it's going to be caught by some people and clap, clap, clop, clop. All right, it's going to have a real circumcision then. All right, let's see how these two ladies of the night are at it. Because, you know, women have more compassion, are better than us. Here you have Russia Today. Von der Leyen killing Kallas in the EU Game of Thrones. Le Monde. The two top officials are reportedly struggling for control over the bloc's diplomatic and intelligence services. Two of the European most powerful and controversial officials, according to Russians. This is an infantile. That's the definition. The problem, my conclusion. She's not an infantile. But I really don't understand. I personally do not understand. And I will tell you what I don't understand. How in the hell she, from a little shitty country of 1.3 million people, unimportant country in Europe, became the foreign minister of the European Union, in charge of the intelligence of about and foreign policy of 450 million people. 1.3 million, 450. Can you imagine what it is? Imagine that you are in charge of, let's say, one person. You're a supervisor, one person. And overnight, you're in charge of 450 persons. Don't you think that that's a big jump? Now, you can say, yes, it is. No, all right, that's the first thing. Second thing, what did she do? I mean, for such a big promotion, you must have done something. Tell me, please, tell me, what did she do? I've been following what she said and what she did. She didn't do nothing. She spoke a lot. That's all. She spoke about Russia is bad, Russia is bad, that's all she did. But many others did the same thing. Is this diplomacy? How was she catapulted? Now the other one, Miss von der Leyen, she was the defense minister appointed. These two right here, okay, they're appointed. One is the foreign minister and the other one is the secretary, the president of the European Commission. She was catapulted and was, yes, okay, she's the one. That's how she was voted. Not by direct vote of the people of the European Union, no, by some guys. Oh, yeah, they were elected, okay? This is how she's got that position. She can be fired tomorrow. And she was the defense minister of Deutschland über niemals. All right, that's what it is. And she was over there with this baboon Kaja Kallas. Who does Kaja Kallas have behind her or above her or in her mouth? I don't know. So von der Leyen is steadily concentrating authority in her office at the expense of Kallas' European External Action Service by creating new units such as the Director General of Defense Industry, you know who's in charge of von der Leyen, and reportedly a spy unit, despite the existence of parallel bodies inside the EEAS, noted Le Monde. Officials of the Intelligence and Situation Center, which operates under Kallas, fear von der Leyen's new spy agency will duplicate existing functions and weaken the foreign service. Okay, so what will they do? You know what they will do? What they will be told to do. Probably these two women represent two opposite forces in the same group, in the same championship. So we are not in the championships. We are the baboons, okay? We're in the baboons championship, okay? They're in the weasel championship. It's a different. We can't go there. They are not going to come here. They're in charge of us. So in that championship, there are forces, energies, interests that are in that, they're in charge of us, but they are also competing for various baboons and weasels and bottom feeders like these ones over here in order to take care of us and get us to work and shut the hell up and maybe fight the Russians for their economic and financial interests. So no tears dropping or shedding here. Now, let's celebrate, according to the street, that Andrew Tate gets hyperliquidated as Bitcoin crash wipes out his entire balance. Now, by this title, you would think, oh my God, his entire balance, he's bankrupt. No, he's not. He's gonna just have to sell, I don't know, a tire from his, whatever he's got over there, one of his cars, and it's all done. Andrew Tate, a former kickboxing champion and controversial online personality, has suffered a complete wipeout of his trading balance on the crypto deliveries exchange Hyperliquid after Bitcoin BTC briefly fell below $90,000 earlier this week. Oh my God. So this is the end of it, right? Because all his money is in this Hyperliquid. That's it. On-chain analysis published by Arkham Intelligence shows that Tate lost every dollar he deposited into the platform. So do you think this is not going to come back or something? Along with the fair referral rewards he earned from users trading under his code. Arkham wrote in his post, Andrew Tate hyperliquidated. Andrew Tate deposited a total of $727,000 to Hyperliquid, and as of today, he lost it all without making a single withdrawal. He also claimed a total of $75,000 as referral rewards from traders using his Riff link. He has lost all of his trading as well. The data surfaced during one of the sharpest intraday drops of the year. On November, Bitcoin hit 7-month low of $89,393, triggering more than $800 million in liquidations across levered crypto positions. Tate's account logs on Hyperliquid show a sequence of rapid forced closures as the market slid. How Tate became over there doesn't really matter. Do not celebrate. Andrew Tate is not bankrupt, and he's not going to be bankrupt as long as he's got properties and their properties are not located in the European Union or maybe the US of America or England. Or they could be over there, but some of these property must be elsewhere, and they should be very well hidden from being found and touched by these thieves. Remember, these guys want to get Russia's $300 billion assets. Do you think they cannot squash Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate can disappear yesterday. If these guys want Andrew Tate is gone, and they're going to say, well, Andrew Tate decided to fly to Mars. That's it. And Andrew Tate flew to Mars. You're never going to find Mr. Khashoggi Tate if they want. You understand? So that's why Tate is just an example. They want to set an example for all of us how they can hurt a guy with a lot of money, a lot of influence. They will set him as an example. That's why. Why do you think he's got all those court hearings in Romania? They want to give him to us as an example. That's what it is. He's not going to be bankrupt. These guys are talking about countries and the globe, the world. They think Tate or Emil or... Please, my friends. So, don't worry, he's okay. Until he decides one day to fly to Mars. And they will tell us that he flew to Mars, and they will talk very nicely of him at that point. Why? He's gone. But we all know what happened. He didn't fly to Mars. He was helped to have a better life somewhere else. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.